alaikum dear students. I am your teacher Sana Azim and today we will discuss about the quiz competitions. So let's start the class by taking the name of Allah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma, Rabbi zidni ilma, Rabbi zidni ilma. So mainly we have to discuss the quiz of the chapter nutrients and enzymes. So let's see what is the first question. Define nutrients. You people have to define. So what is the definition of nutrients? These are the chemical substances in food which nourish the body, that is provide energy and materials needed by the body. They provide those materials, those substances to the body which are necessary for the energy, for growth, for maintenance. Next is give names of different nutrients. So there are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, dietary fibers, water and mineral salts. Next question is what are carbohydrates? So we have discussed carbohydrates are organic compounds made up of the elements such as carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So the hydrogen and oxygen atoms are present in the same ratio as in water, 2:1. Like the formula of water is H2O, 2 hydrogens are present and 1 oxygen. In the same way in carbohydrates the ratio is the same, like hydrogen have double number and oxygen have half a number of hydrogens. So what is the formula of glucose? We have studied C6H12O6. And next is what is the general formula of carbohydrates? So if you talk about general formula, it's CnH2MOM. Right, the number of oxygen and hydrogen, it will be same. For example, if the oxygens are 2, then hydrogens will surely be 4, like 2 times of oxygen. That's why they are written M. Carbon number can be changed from oxygen and hydrogen. What are the sources of carbohydrates? So the sources of carbohydrates are potato, cheese, cereal, rice, milk and dairy products and some fruits. Like rice and potato, these are the main sources of carbohydrates. Then next is what are proteins? Proteins are complex organic compounds. They contain carbon, hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen. Like 4 main chemical components are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Sometimes sulfur and phosphorus are also present. Next is explain briefly proteins are polymers. Like how can you explain that proteins are polymers? So proteins are polymers which are made up of amino acids. Amino acids are the monomers of proteins. They join together through the peptide bond and form polypeptide chain. For example, when so many amino acids are joining together through the peptide bond, so then it will be called as peptide chain of proteins. Next question is what are the sources of proteins? So we can obtain proteins from meat, which is a complete source of proteins, eggs, beans and seafood. Like the pure source of proteins is seafood such as fish, because it don't contain any kind of fat. But yes, meat of goat, meat of buffalo, they contain some kind of fat, but the fish do not contain any fats. Also lentils and oatmeal with milk are good sources of proteins. Next is what are fats? So fats are also organic compounds made up of the elements carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But unlike carbohydrates, they contain much less oxygen in proportion to hydrogen. Next is what are the products formed on hydrolysis of fats? So fats, fatty acids and glycerols. These are the 2 compounds which are formed after the hydrolysis of fats. As you can see here in this equation, triglycerides, these are the fats. They are hydrolyzed in water. As a result, 1 glycerol molecule and 3 fatty acids have been produced. Next question is what are the sources of fats? So simple, safflower, grapeseed and soybean and sunflower oils, nuts, seeds and pastured eggs. All of these are the sources of fats, right? Next question is what are the sources of calcium? So we know that we can obtain calcium from milk, from cheese, from eggs, cereals, soybeans and dark green vegetables. These are all the sources of calcium, right? And the next is what is the result of deficiency of calcium? Severe deficiency of calcium results in rickets, which is characterized by poor teeth and bone formation. These are the symptoms of rickets, poor teeth and bone formation. And what happens in children? It may result in bow legs, bowed legs and knock knees develop, right? Like the legs may become, they may not be straightened, they may become bowed. Next question is what are the sources of iron? liver, red meat, egg yolk, bread, flour, and dark green vegetables. These are all the sources of iron. Next question is, which problem may arise from deficiency of iron? So deficiency of iron may cause anemia. We have discussed it in detail. It is characterized by red blood cells. They may become smaller and fewer in number, and main symptoms are like you all the time you feel tired, and whenever you are doing an hectic activity you feel breathless. So the next question is, what are the sources of vitamin D? Fish liver oils, egg yolk, milk, and margarine are sources of vitamin D. Naturally, UV rays can convert a natural substance in skin to vitamin D when the skin is exposed to the sun. Like in children, they are usually exposed to the sun so that naturally in their bodies vitamin D may develop. So the next question is, what are the sources of vitamin C? So oranges, lemons, papaya, guava, tomatoes, and banana are the richest sources of vitamin D. Fresh green vegetables and fruit juices are also convenient sources of vitamin C. So, which problems may arise from deficiency of vitamin C? Scurvy arises mainly from the deficiency of vitamin C, which is characterized by swollen, bleeding gums, loosening of teeth, hemorrhages or internal bleeding in skin, poor healing of wounds, and painful swollen joints. These are all the symptoms of scurvy. Next is, a person tries eating a diet consisting only of lettuce leaves and water. Which condition may develop? So the answer is rickets. Rickets may develop if a person tries to eat such kind of food. Next is, how can reducing sugar be detected in your food? We have already discussed by using Benedict's test. And what are the reducing sugars? These are glucose, fructose, maltose, and all these compounds. And what is the result of Benedict test? So as you can see here, if the test is negative, then it will be the blue solution. The color of solution will turn blue. And if the trace of reducing sugar is present, then the green solution. So if the concentration is 500 to 1000 milligram, then the green ppt are formed. If 1000 to 1500, then yellow. And if 1500 to 2000, then orange. And then if the concentration of reducing sugar is above 2000 milligram, then red brick precipitates will be formed. And next question is, how can protein be detected? It can be detected by using Burette test. And what is this test? So as you can see here, if the blue color is formed, it means that the test is negative and proteins are absent. And if the deep purple color or violet color is formed, then it is positive. And if we talk about how can fats be detected, it can be detected by using ethanol emulsion test. And what is this test? When we add 95% ethanol in the sample and then we add this into the distilled water, after some time cloudy emulsion is formed, which shows that fats are present. And if no cloudy emulsion is formed, then it means they are absent. So if we talk about how can starch be detected in your food, we can detect it by using iodine test. And what is this iodine test? In this, we simply add starch into the iodine, and if the yellow color or brown color is formed,